In today's episode, I'll begin my review and reaction to the 2003 movie Master and Commander: Far Side of the World, one of the longest movie titles in history. So let's get right into Master and Commander: Far Side of the World. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the DubCast. This movie is a crazy one. No, it's not really that crazy. I'm out internet. I lost internet, so I lost my notes, guys. We'll just have to go off rip. No, I mean this Master and Commander: Far Side of the World. It's solid. It's not anything to write home about, really. You have Russell Crowe, and then you have Paul Bettany for all you Marvel fans out there. He plays the Vision. Those are the two kind of main stars of this movie, but this is a kind of movie about being on a ship, and there are certain aspects of being on a ship that don't seem as entertaining as you'd hope, at least across this 2 hour and 18-minute runtime. Now, coming into this movie, I do know the director, Peter Weir. We've reviewed Dead Poet Society on the channel way back in the day. I say that as this hasn't even been, I haven't even had the Dubcast for 2 years, but we did a review of Dead Poet Society. I thought that was a solid movie, give it a 7.9. Peter Weir is also the director of The Truman Show, which I've seen in school a long time ago. Yeah, and I think this is the worst movie of those three. Now, this is a 2003 movie. Some of the visual effects are very good. I don't mean to be offensive or hypercritical of movies made, before we. I don't even what's the year that like graphics got good, But this movie didn't really. Sorry, I'm rubbing my eye. I don't know. It didn't seem like a movie from 2003. Like I actually had to redo this take because I didn't know what year this movie was from. Looked it up and was like, oh, 2003. This seems like a 2009 movie or something, like 2010. So it's ahead of its age, if that's something. But yeah, I mean, it's like this movie was okay. I thought there were really strong parts and really weak parts. I guess you can kind of say that about almost everything, but good movies don't have those weak ass parts that no one gives a shit about, which I'll get into it with my reactions throughout this movie. Um, Russell Crowe, I love Russell Crowe as an actor, but this is not one of his like. You got to see this Russell Crowe movie, man. He's a pirate or he's a ship leader, and it's like, first of all, try and remember this name to tell it to somebody. It's like, oh, what'd you watch last night? I watched Master and Commander: Far Side of the World. Who says that? Make this shorter. You need Master and Commander. Just make a Master of the Far Side of the World or something. Commander of the Far Side of the World. God forbid we get this fucking long ass title. Anyways, let's get into my reactions throughout the movie. So as always, we like to start out with the right beginning of the movie because that's what draws you in. That's what makes you want to watch this movie. And we start this one out with a quote. And I don't know if I'm a fan of the quote to start the movie. It's kind of like, actually I was watching a movie the other day and it was like opening credits for 5 minutes. Maybe that review will come out soon, but it's like I don't like the opening credits, so a quote is better than opening credits monologue of nothing happening for 5 minutes. Um, but we got a quote, or this isn't even a quote. It's just was this a quote? Because it's Napoleon, and he says, "Oceans are now battlefields." And was Napoleon like? I don't want to get canceled for being wrong about history, so I won't say anything. But I mean, oceans are battlefields, which, yeah, they're battlefields for about 20 minutes in this movie, and the rest of it's boring. No, I mean it's not. It's not boring. I've lost my mouse. Okay, there it is. So nice tone to set us out. We're ready for pirates to get into war. Commander, far side of the world. Let's go. And they throw it right at you. Action packed opening sequence with Jack, Russell Crowe, getting the boys. It's tough to manage a ship full of the crewmen and all that crap. Um, but he's got them somewhat in rhythm here, and they're taking boats off the main boats. There's one boat you're fighting against, and there's little boats. He's taking down those little boats. You got to take out. I like that little strategy. Take out the little ones, get to the big one. Um, and I like seeing the roles of all the different people on the ship. You got some people firing the cannons. You got some people scouting with the telescope. You got people plugging the holes, playing defense, and then you got people helping the wounded. So it is a battlefield because you have people doing all these different roles, playing offense, playing defense, helping out in any different way. So I do like that aspect. That's one of my, that's one of the favorite parts of the movie. If you talk about this with a friend, it's like, oh, wouldn't it be sick to just like be with your boys on a pirate ship and like we all help each other out and like just live on the sea for days. That was one of the strong parts of the movie. That's what I did like that aspect of it. So we do we are thrown right into the fire once again because this kid has a broken arm. He does not want to be stitched through his arm, which I don't think I would want to be stitched through the arm. That doesn't sound very appealing. It does sound pretty awful. And then they bring out the tourniquet. Like obviously this isn't a freaking tourniquet. This takes place in the 1800s, but they're cutting that bitch right off, and that's like woof. I don't know what this movie's rated. Probably rated R, if I had to guess. But that was like, I didn't know we were getting that deep, that far in. So I always appreciate a war movie that's willing to keep it real. Um, what's not keep it real, but like show you how gruesome things can be. They don't hold back. So I guess that is kind of keeping it real. But I like that part of it too. So the beginning, I was like, oh, we're getting into it, man. But then it kind of simmers down a little bit with especially this freaking song singing by the people on the ship. Like, I get it, we're pirates, we sing, we have nothing to fucking do all day. That's not important. Like, I watch Survivor and they're out there for 24 hours a day. I don't give a shit what they're doing for like 22 of those hours. They don't show it to us because they know it's boring. We don't care about these people freaking singing, which is ironic because in the latest episode of Survivor, they do show the people singing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't like the musical part of it. I thought that was really boring, and I'm not a fan of musicals, musical movies. I guess because well, I know I'm not. Unless it's High School Musical too, I don't like that shit. And if you can watch my review of Joker Folie à Dos, like I'm out, bro. I'm out. I don't need that shit. And another callback, Unforgiven, when they were telling the story of these cowboys. I don't give a shit about these pirates. Like I really don't. So it's like, oh, we're sitting and drinking wine and telling tales. It's like this movie is one of those movies I'm gonna say could be shorter, and I think, sometimes I'm overcritical of the runtime. It could have been longer, could have been shorter. This could have been 20 minutes shorter, bro. We didn't need the musical shit. We didn't need the tales of the pirates. Just was boring. So in between, that's kind of like the in between peaks of the movie. So you have the opening sequence is fire, kind of dip down in this bullshit musical, bullshit stories like no one cares. Right back into it with the storm, and Storm is crazy. So I don't know. At the beginning of the movie, I was saying, this would be fun to do with your boys. Now I'm like, I don't know who the fuck would sign up for this shit. I ain't doing that. In a storm, man, you're cooked. Those storms are scary as fuck. Like if you're watching Deadly Catch, I ain't doing that. It looks fun just to like do for a day, but I'm not. You can't live out there. I wouldn't want to do it. And then one of the boys gets sacrificed from the storm. Um, yeah, I mean it's a tough watch. Some people gotta go. It's just the unfortunate way of the water. But yeah, we learned that Paul Bettany's character, which they introduced this halfway through the movie, which I thought was actually one of the more interesting parts. It could have been a good running storyline throughout the movie. He's on the ship. He's not like pirating or bullshitting and drinking wine and singing songs and telling tales of the old days. He's doing some real shit. He's doing some investigative research on species. So I thought that was a cool thing to see, like early days of investigating species, and him being on a voyage like this, trying to help out his people back home figure out what's going on. So I thought that was I liked Paul Bettany's character. Like I honestly liked Paul Bettany's character better than I liked Russell Crowe's character. Is that a crazy take? I don't know, but I didn't really care about Russell Crowe's character. He was just kind of like, okay, he's a captain, got it. So continuing on, something else I found wild is 12 lashings for the man for not saluting and just brushing by. Like, God forbid a guy has a bad day and you're getting fucking lashed 12 times for it. Come on, man. I know this is like 200 years, 200 plus years ago, but it's like, can we not do that? Like, I would. Now I'm out. At the beginning, I was in like fun times with the boys, whatever, hunting people in the ocean, getting lashed, storm, musical, and singing. I'm out. I'm out. Mark Cuban, I'm out. Anyways, there's been a troubled, what is it, privateer? What do you even call these people? I don't know, on the ship. And he kills himself by jumping to the bottom of the water with a cannonball or rock. And yeah, like he was a fuck up, but like, come on, bro. It wasn't that deep. Just some people aren't cut out for it, man. I don't know. That was hard scene to watch. And again, I did like how they're taking this very seriously and they're like, shit happens and these are deep shit. I didn't think it was that deep, but Hallam, he thought he was cursed, and when you're out in the ocean for days on end, it's like, fuck, man, maybe I'm cursed, and just go, just go. And he never stood up for himself. That was my takeaway. Stand up for yourself. Stand your base, as they say. Sorry, I'm being cringe. So we lost Hallam, and now my boy Paul Bettany gets shot aboard the ship as the guy someone's trying to shoot the bird. He wanted to look, and he's been able to remove the bullet himself, which I thought was a cool scene for Paul Bettany. But why we got to shoot my boy, man? And him and Russell Crowe or Jack are like super close friends, which is like a weird dynamic throughout the movie. Um, Maybe why he let him on the ship, I don't know. But yeah, didn't like to see that. But luckily, he's the main character. He's one of the only two stars in this movie, so he's going to survive. The big hurrah at the end is their plan to be undercover whalers, and then they can go close to do close combat because their ship kind of stinks in comparison to what the French got. They do decent, but they get ambushed with guns. Good back and forth battle, but the Brits end up winning kind of handedly. Captain of the French ship is dead. I will say this was a little hard to follow. I think of like who's French, who's British. I don't like these kind of scenes where you're like, I don't know who's who, and do I care about this guy? Am I not meant to care about this guy? Who's the fucking captain? I don't know. I'm an idiot. I don't. I'm just watching these two people fight or these two sides fight. But there was decent combat in this movie, so I did like that. I did I did a review on The Hunt for Red October, which was like submarine warfare. This was a good like ship to ship warfare and also hand to hand like pirate level stuff. So the combat wasn't too terrible. And of course, they have their own casualties, though, as one of the guys who are meant to care about, which we're not meant to care about any of these people mostly because the only stars of this movie are Paul Bettany and Russell Crowe. The kid who just made third lieutenant, his name is Calamy. He passes away as long as the person who dusted by Hallam. So the guy who didn't salute and got lashed, he's gone now as well. So, we lost a lot of people throughout this movie. At least four, I'm counting them that I've already brought up in this review. RIP to those guys. And then we have the final sequence of the captain may have pulled scam school on Aubrey and may still be alive. I don't really know. I don't remember the ending of this movie. It was whatever at that point. I was like, all right, get this over with. We saw everything. We're going to see out of this movie. And they got to change course from the Galapagos Islands. And the guy doesn't get to go for his species, which is like, just let the man freaking find his species. But yeah, I mean, high highs, not enough high highs to drown out the low lows, really. I think this is like a middling movie for me. I gave it a 6.7. I'm not upset that I watched it. I think there are, some standout moments that, especially in my review, I was more high on it than I was actually watching the movie, but I feel like a 6.7 is a very fair score. Russell Crowe's decent. I did like Paul Bettany's character, and, it just felt like it was kind of a mismatch of everything together, where if it was a little more streamlined, and they cut out some of the other bullshit that was happening, and it would be cool. And like I feel like there is a limit to this type of movie for me, but this was a okay movie. I gave it a 6.7. So where does this come in on the DubCast graphic? This is our number 62 movie ranked of 75 movies reviewed so far. So if you watched the Eastern Promise review, I actually lied on that review. This is number 75. Yeah, I was we're going to have a compilation coming out on social media of movie number 50 through 75 on the score, and I got lazy, man. Guys, I have to admit, I lost motivation. We're back though. We're back. Trust. So at a 6.7, this does tie with Good Morning Vietnam. I would slightly prefer Good Morning Vietnam over this movie. That movie has Robin Williams, and this movie doesn't. I mean, genuinely, that's like most of the difference. And kind of not similar storylines, but like I don't know, similar type of movies, just in like different ways. I guess you could say that about anything. I don't know. I thought Good Morning Vietnam, I got that a little bit over this one. We're comparing 6.7s. So, and no, I just thought it. And if you're thinking it, no. Next, Peter Weir movie. So I mentioned we did do a Dead Poet Society review. I gave that a 7.9. I thought that was a pretty good movie. Obviously, this pales in comparison to that at a 1.2 lower score. So we've now got two Peter Weir movies in the books. And Russell Crowe. So this is our third Russell Crowe movie. We did American Gangster. I gave that an 8.1. I love American Gangster. Um, I will love is strong, but I really liked American Gangster, obviously an 8. And then 310 to Yuma, I thought was another solid film, another 7.9. Obviously now this is the lowest rated Russell Crowe movie. So that's where I'm at on this fucking essay of a movie. What's it called? My thing zoomed in, so I have to go over and look because I can't remember these 8 words of a movie title. Master and Commander, Far Side of the World. That's 8, 9. No, 8 words. Mouthful. So what do you guys think of this movie if you've watched it? If not, do you plan on watching it now that I gave my review? I doubt there's anyone who actually does that. If you are, though, let me know down below in the comments. I kind of mentioned everything in the Eastern Promises review. We're back, movie reviews, UFC. This will come out after the UFC event happens. So either I, did really bad in the picks or didn't do or did good. So hopefully you tailed if I did good, and hopefully you just faded me and gave the video 0 views if I did bad. NFL streams are happening weekly. I've got the notepad right here. I can tell you what's coming up next for movie reviews. So we had Eastern Promises. Next will be Secret Mall Apartment. And then we got Green Book and Flight. So those are the next 3 movies. If you're interested in any of those, stay tuned to hear my thoughts on that. Would love if you subscribed, comment. What can I do better in these movie reviews? I tried to shorten it a little bit, cut out the book report BS, and just speak from the heart, man. So hopefully, you enjoyed this movie review. If not, let me know what I can do better down below in the comments. I'll leave y'all with that. And as always, be easy, y'all.